I had previously been working at an insurance company and I was laid off business and just realized there was a total gap in the market. I got in touch with Tyler directly at Indy Clover and just fell in love with the concept. I opened my first store in September 2024. I just celebrated 1 year of the first store. And I was profitable month one. To break even and get back my initial investment happened at about 15, 16 months. At least in the first few months of each store, I'm extremely involved. I'm pretty aggressive with my build out. I love what I do. I love that I get to bring people together. I support small businesses. This is tenfold better than a 9-to-5. It is still a risk doing something that doesn't exist up here. I just have to get them to know how awesome it is. Spread the good word of Indy Clover.
Courtney, thank you so much for joining us today. Super excited to dive into your journey of Indy Clover, how you got involved, and the ups and downs. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So, Courtney, the first question is, what initially made you take Indy Clover seriously as an investment?
Yeah, I had previously been working at an insurance company, so definitely didn't have this on my radar. And I was laid off from that opportunity, and I started my own thrift business and just realized there was a total gap in the market. Long story short, I got in touch with Tyler directly at Indy Clover and just fell in love with the concept. And at first was just kind of looking to maybe manage a store if one opens near me. And they just kind of pitched the idea of franchising. And it just seemed like a dream. Obviously, there are risks, but I love thrifting. I love the opportunity to build community and what Indy Clover can offer to wherever it opens, and just decided to take the leap of faith. I felt super supported by the franchise just from an initial conversation before there was any, commitment. I just felt like, they were very open and excited to talk about the brand, which drew me to them. So, that was obviously just the beginning, but from there, I just was really excited about it.
So it's kind of like, I like thrifting. If you want to, I want to be a manager, kind of like a job application. And then here you are, not to spoil anything, but you already have 2 stores open and you're about to open up your third in just a matter of how many years has this been?
I mean, I opened my first store in September 2024. I just celebrated 1 year of the first store.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's so
Crazy.
cool. Well, let's focus on that. So now you have that store that you opened, and then you opened another one just a few months ago in June.
Yep.
And you can either or averages, but talking about costs, startup costs, like what were the all-in costs compared to what you thought they were? How did that work out?
Yeah. So when you start working with Indy Clover and the franchise, you're given kind of projected numbers. And I am a budget person and I really do everything.
Financial background. Yep.
Yes. I respect a budget. I definitely went over my budget a little bit, but honestly, the numbers that they gave me at first was like, obviously cost of goods has gone up a little bit, but back in 2024, transparently, I think it was like 150 to 180 was like the average cost they were seeing. And I was right in that for the first store and with the second store. I did not hit 200. I do have a few contractors in my family and people. I was able to kind of save costs, and I'm transparent about that with every person that I talk to. But, I was very good about not overspending in rent, not overspending in startup costs, while still making sure the stores look great. So yeah, I was roughly around 170 maybe at both stores, roughly.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Which is so doable because again, when I think about owning a business, it's not like you can't get into a business for $170,000.
I know.
Especially like a nice. You walk into an Indy Clover, like this is a nice store. Like there's no way that I could get into it for that. Which is so cool that they've made it that the franchise model is so accessible that you can get into there. You can get into the business with a lot lower investment compared to owning a restaurant or something like that. And that also makes it a lot easier because your risk is a lot lower and your payback can potentially be a lot sooner. Can you tell me how quickly your store reached profitability and what were the key drivers that helped you get there?
Yes. So I would say making really smart decisions is very important. And I was profitable month one. Like I was seeing great numbers from the beginning, which I was really not surprised by, but you set yourself up to be happy with whatever happens in a first year of running a business, but being profitable and seeing great great profit. Month one was amazing. And even, to break even and get back my initial investment happened at about 15, 16 months. So overall was very happy with the numbers. And I think, not biting off more than you can chew. When you're negotiating your lease, like upfront, make sure that for me, I always try to get at least 3 to 4 months free rent. My husband's an attorney, so we do a lot of negotiating, but I think like that helped me too see profitability early on. I always suggest that to franchisees to really get that free rent because it can help you so much, not like dig yourself into a grave when you first open.
Awesome. Um, what about the unique economics? So what has been surprising there, whether it be labor, revenue, or margins?
Yes. So, as you may know, the cost of living in New England is high. And it definitely, I think, just like labor costs and like minimum wage is higher here than any other location. Vegas might be high also. So I was really worried about that because obviously I'm looking at the numbers from other stores and I was really afraid that my labor costs were going to make me not profitable at all. But it wasn't the case. It's obviously like hard to see that number, that output every single month. But it was a little bit surprising because I hadn't fully thought about that until I was really opening that, wow, I'm going to be paying much more than other stores. But people spend a little bit more too, like it all goes out in the wash, I guess. So that was a little bit surprising as far as economics go. That I would say that was like the most, or something I just really had to like think through.
Yeah. And tell us where your two stores are at.
So they're both in the North Shore Boston area. So one is in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and the other is a little bit more north in Beverly, Massachusetts.
Both of your stores are in Boston and you're operating both of them. How much time should somebody realistically spend, operating their first store? And how do you go from one store to two store? How do you manage both stores?
Yeah, I think it's all like what you want it to be. I've talked with other owners, and there's some that are more hands off as far as like physical presence. Some own stores that aren't even in the same state. And so it's up to you. Me personally, at least in the first few months of each store, I'm extremely involved. I still work every single Saturday at the store just to show face. People love to just like, I don't know, see me there as far as like the person that brought this concept that they love so much. Like I think I love being there every single week and I pop in, multiple times a week just to check in, see the team. Our girls that started with us a year ago in September, we still have them, which is pretty unheard of a lot of time with retail. And I think it's just because I've tried to create the sense of community and family. So I like to have a strong presence. And for the first year or so, I was doing everything on myself. I didn't even have a manager that I hired. I just did it all. We had one girl, Samantha, who started out with us, social media assistant, moved to a seller advocate, and now she fully manages the stores with me. And she's going to take on like a full-time manager role when I open the third store. She's amazing. I could not do this without her. Hire a good manager if you want to have more stores. That is like the key to success. So now I'm able to step away. I have two young children. I'm able to create what my week looks like now. But I would say whenever you're opening a store for each one, dedicate a lot of time at the beginning to just be so invested in it emotionally, financially, obviously, like physically, mentally, just be present and then you'll be able to step away.
Yeah, before you can hand off the keys, you need to know how to drive first.
Exactly.
And I love, so now you have two stores. What's the timeline for store number three?
Yeah, so I'm in the process right now of looking at property. I know the town I want, and it's a little bit of a competitive area. And right now is just like a slow time. So goal is spring 2026. I'm pretty aggressive with my build out. So I think it's feasible. We'll see.
What are the benefits? Because before we started recording, you told me like, yeah, I was just planning on starting with one. And now barely a year later, you're about to open up your third.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of opening up, obviously three versus one? And you can hit me from a financial perspective, but also a stress perspective or a freedom perspective on like, I can step away a little bit more because processes.
Yeah. So again, my goal was just one. And I remember talking to like Tyler and other franchisees and transparently, they're like, yeah, you might want to like sign up for more. I was like, oh no, like I'll be so happy with one, which I was. But when you open one in an area, typically there's a demand for more. And so I, opened the second one and felt like, yes, there was like more stress in making that decision. But honestly, once you open one and you kind of, you it's like learning how to ride a bike when you open the second, if that makes sense. It's like you've done it already, especially when you do it close together. It feels stressful, but it's like, oh, this is not my first rodeo. So I think to answer your question, yes, there was like a lot of stress with that, but it's not like you're doing multiple different businesses that you're trying to manage. It's like literally two of the same things, just in different areas. And it's all about the beginning of the process where you're like, doing outreach. I was doing door-to-door marketing, going to every single local market I could to just like talk about this concept, let people know that it can help them make supplemental income and all of that. So lots of stress just because it's a business that you care about. But if you do one, you can definitely do another one.
Yeah.
Right?
And then now you have two. Do you have, I guess, are you working more or less than when you opened up your first one? Now that you have your team in place, even though you have two locations, how do you
Yeah.
compare that?
Yeah, I would say I'm honestly working like less right now because and you asked about financials too. So obviously when you open another store, there's more money in your pocket if you do it right and you do it well. And so I, had the funds to be able to hire a full-time manager that can now help me support multiple stores. And so, she's dealing with some of the things that I just don't want to deal with anymore. And, taking on a lot of those managerial roles because I can afford her now and I can afford having a manager. And again, a lot of people hire managers right away and you can do that. You just will obviously, that's more money out of your pocket. But for me now, it is more work, but it's like, it's more things to manage, but a little bit less work
Yeah.
happening.
And I imagine it's also a little bit less stressful in the sense like, I'm going to open this third store, but man, I've already done it twice, which I love you also hit on that. Like when you buy a business, usually you really, you don't get the freedom you want. You're just working long hours and getting paid last, right? But once you figure out how to do that, that's really where franchising becomes fun because it's all systems. It's like, cool.
Yep.
And not only systems, then if I can hire the right people to run the systems for me, then I can go from one to two to three stores, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. Are there any expansion plans past three stores?
Yes. I mean, I'd love to I know. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to so we're in North Shore right now with two stores. We need to get to South Shore. That's where the third one is going to be. And then I think there's an appetite for like a flagship Boston store, like something really close to city. That scares me because obviously cost of rent. I just will not pay an arm and a leg for a location. I think that's a great piece of advice for you don't need to. You are a destination as an Indy Clover. So I'll have to figure that out. But yes, definitely like in my mind, I see four happening.
Yeah. Well, cool. With the launch of three right around the corner, and thinking back to the launch of one and two, when I say launch, I mean grand opening.
Mhm.
What was the biggest support that you got from Indy Clover corporate that you felt like really had the biggest impact?
So at the time when I first opened, there was a dedicated admin to me and to each store that just like gave you like a full checklist, went through everything to make sure you were like on task, and it just was such an asset. I mean, she was just on top of everything. And then when I opened my second store, I don't think they still had this admin, but I didn't really need one anyway because I had already done it once. But I think just like the support from corporate was really great, and the checklist they give you just to like, you don't have to think through, oh yeah, I need to have an LLC. Oh yeah, I need to, they give you a checklist and it's flushed out because they have obviously so many other stores already. So that was really helpful.
I love it.
Yeah.
On the operational side, what's been the biggest challenge operating the stores?
To be honest with you, I think sometimes you can forget that this is still a retail job. And if anyone has ever worked a retail job, there are, a lot of people and customers involved that you just have to have really good customer service skills. And I joke all the time lovingly and say we have 63 in our store. We have 63 booths and 62 booths. We have 63 business partners every week that we're working with. And so as much as we don't have to worry about like our inventory coming in, we do have other people's inventory and things that they really care about. And operationally, that is a huge part of what you do. And so whether it's you or your manager, you need to make sure they're very well equipped to handle people is what I'll say. So that's something that, we have to constantly work on and, make sure that everyone is being respected in the store, but, it- exemplifying the
Yeah, and I
integrity.
I mean, and if you do it right, I love your guys' model that you have your 63 business partners and all 63 of them could advertise for you and for
Yeah.
themselves at the same
Yep.
time. And you
Love it.
can reward them with, a discount on the booth. And that's
Yeah.
all. I love that model there. Uh,
Yep.
Aside from that, what marketing activities do you feel like move the needle the most for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best marketing is the experience you give anyone that comes into your store, honestly. Like, I think number one, that is our best marketing because once people come into our store and they experience, all the beautiful things that Indy Clover has to offer, that is the best marketing because they're going and telling everybody that have you been to this new store? I just went. It was so amazing. I went with my daughter. I went with my, whoever. So I think like genuinely making sure that everybody that comes in through your doors is having the best experience is the best marketing for your brand. I truly do. And then obviously, like we are very good in New England in our Indy Clover stores at social media and being on top of the trends. Obviously, Kina does a great job at giving us, a layout for what we need to post every week. But people come in looking for our girls from social media and have really like gotten to know them through what we post. So I think like just social media marketing has been huge for us. And we run ads and all of that stuff too, but literally just posting reels to TikTok and Instagram was great.
It's such a good brand. And again, you have all these people that are advertising for you on
Yep.
social media and also word of mouth. I mean, they're advertising for themselves, right? Because they're selling things, but they're also advertising for you, and that's what's cool. It's such a good win-win without you like, hey, please help me out. It's like help yourself out, and we all kind of win. Yeah, the marketing around it is really really cool. Talk to me about how owning your first, now your second, now almost your third. Like, what's the differences in your day to day? Do you like it more or less than your 9 to 5 that you were working in the financial world? What are the pros and cons?
I like it so much more than working a 9 to 5. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would say I mean, the cons, just to get those out of the way, is that like when you run a business, regardless of if you have a manager or whoever, and my manager cares about this so much, but no one's ever going to be as invested as you are, and no one is able to really help you out when things are kind of hitting the fan. And sometimes things hit the fan at the most inconvenient times. Like I've had, sick children that I need to take care of, but there's like a huge thing going on that I have to like handle at the store, whether it be, a police report or dealing with theft. Like those are real things that you have with a thrift store. They're not glamorous, but they happen. And so I'm the one that needs to be available at all times. Whereas a 9 to 5, you call out, don't talk to me. That's not the case with this. But other than that, I mean, I create what my week looks like. I love what I do. I love that I get to bring people together. I support small businesses. So this is in tenfold better than a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I love that. Talk to me a little bit more about the community aspect. What's been some of the most rewarding moments or activities that you participate in, and that side of the benefits of being, a business owner?
Yeah. So since I opened in September of last year in Wakefield, have opened our doors every Saturday to having businesses that are just from the area pop up. We have like a whole area. I don't charge them anything. They can just pop up and it can just be a place for them to, talk about the goods and services they offer, get to know people. And so that has been so special. People love it and look forward to the different pop-ups every single week. A lot of times folks that sell with me then inquire about doing a pop-up. So that's so fun. We've been involved in so many community events. I do pop-ups all the time at local colleges, students, and it's just been so cool. And the concept itself, just being a place that offers really, really affordable, curated, thrifted goods is so incredible. We had a mother come in recently. This is like one of the most rewarding experiences. She came in and she had said she had been bringing her daughters to the mall and, they would pick out outfits that they would see on a mannequin and this and that. But coming into Indy Clover, her daughters picked out things that she never would have expected them to even like or for her to be able to afford. And she was like, I got to actually know who my kids are because this place exists that can like give them a selection of
Mm.
goods that are unique. And so just like that element of community has been so great, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it is such a huge variety. That
Yeah.
is literally the store in Linden, Utah.
Yeah.
My niece works there, and that's my wife's favorite place.
It's the
So
best.
they've been shopping there way before I got involved in the side of the business.
I love it.
Super, super cool, Brad. What was your biggest hesitation before becoming an Indie Clover franchisee, and what made you change your mind?
Yeah, I think as much as the investment into Indy Clover is so below what a lot of franchisees require or businesses require, it is still an investment and it is still a risk. I mean, I personally don't have $160,000 laying around, but there are great loan options out there. I think it was just that, just taking this huge leap of faith, doing something that doesn't exist up here. This in a lot, I think the most successful places to open an Indy Clover are where it doesn't exist and where there's, a total gap in the market, but that's risky because there's nothing telling you this is going to be successful. And so that was such a risk, but I knew that I believed in it and I knew if this was here, I would shop it. So that must mean other people would. I just have to get them to know how awesome it is. And so that's what I did. I just spread the good word of Indy Clover. And again, going back to when people come in, they fall in love with it. I've never had someone come in and have, a bad experience, honestly. I mean, maybe, but for the most part, people love it. So,
Yeah, it's a very unique, cool, fun experience, and to be able to provide that to your community, I imagine, is awesome. So,
yeah.
Courtney, I really appreciate your time. This was extremely helpful. Thank you so much. Congrats on your second store. Congrats on your almost third store. And we'll see you for number four. It feels like we're talking about how many kids you're going to have
I
now. You have a fourth, or anyways, Courtney, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.